Hey guys, today we're gonna do a testing on exhaust back pressure. So we have a customer complaint here with a low power, no codes. I test drove it. It just revs until 3K but doesn't move at all. So previous problem with this car is oil consumption. So most likely there's a problem with the um, exhaust restriction. So let's see and test that um, exhaust flow. So now we're gonna try. I'm gonna use pressure transducer. So let's see. I made my own. So let's see and try to compare a reading on the gauge itself, the manual gauge. So first we're gonna remove one of the spark plug here. We're gonna do one cranking in cylinder and one running in cylinder compression test. Well, just to see the exhaust pressure. So right now I just remove, it doesn't matter which ignition coil, so I remove my number 4 ignition coil, spark plug, oh, spark plug, and let's use our transducer. So I'm just gonna snap that. So this is my sensor here. I just bought new one before I bought the Amazon one, but someone told me that it's from ATS. So, and this is my 5 volts reference. So let's hook this up and let's see if you can get a good waveform. And then in here we're gonna load our scope. Whoa. So I just have an auto maxi scope. So let's turn that on. I use my channel A. I'm connected to channel A, and I'm just gonna use 5 volts and increase our time base. That's 1 second. And also it's connected, and make sure to disable your fuel system. So in this case I have a big connector here that's all connected for my fuel injectors. So I'm gonna remove that, and now let's do our cranking compression. Let's try it. Okay, stop. So let's try again. Okay. Stop my capture. So right now this is my waveform and cranking. Let's see if it's better than my Amazon transducer. Okay, now let me just save this. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is let's try running compression. So So I'm just gonna plug in my connector there for the fuel injector. Okay, let's again. Now let's do our running compression.
Archie, come to service, please, Archie.
Okay, it's good. So as you can see, this is my running compression, and I hope you can see our restriction on one of the exhausts, on the exhaust restriction. So later when I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna try to measure this thing here. These are, so let's see if let's put a cursor. Oh, sorry. Morning. Let's put our cursor. Let's expand it. Okay. Top dead center. Top dead center. Let me change this. To 720. One full cycle of engine. And let's put our rulers. 4. So basically, so that's our top dead center going to bottom dead center, and these are exhaust side here, intake, and back to compression again. So we're gonna measure on this side here our exhaust pressure. Let me save this. Okay, so now we're gonna try to put everything back together and try to remove our oxygen sensor and do our manual exhaust back pressure testing. So as you can see, I use my back pressure gauge there. I don't know if you can hit. So I use my back pressure gauge. I just made that one, and now let's see if we're getting too much back pressure. So as you can see, that needle went almost at that small mark. At least that mark is maybe 15 psi, so more or less we're running at least 10, maybe 10 psi if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a good back pressure gauge, so I have to buy that one. So we'll see. We're gonna replace the manifold and see if we have the same reading or not. So I removed the old exhaust manifold with catalytic converter, and as you can see in there, there's a hole there, and inside that, I don't know if you can see it, inside that honeycomb there's something there, but I can't see it. I don't have a video scope, so I'll just leave it like that. And now I'm gonna install the new one and let's compare our readings. So one way to check also your restriction once you take out your manifold, if you have a flashlight and try to point one of the hole, and it should pass through there on the other side like this. If you can see that there's just a little bit, so it could be that we have a partially clogged exhaust manifold, because I can't see any light passing through that honeycomb. So there's just a little bit, and some of that section of the honeycomb is not going through. So with my new exhaust manifold, as you can see, if I'm gonna put in my light, there's a light right away, like there's no problem with the light passing through. So I highly suspect that we have a partially clogged exhaust. So let me install this and let's see. Now I installed my new exhaust manifold, and now let's see and try if we're getting the same reading. And we'll do the manual gauge first. Go, Jay. So at idle it's around 0, as you can see, almost 0. So as you can see, when I was revving, the needle was just a little bit here, unlike before it was almost on that first marker. So let's try our pressure transducer and see. We're gonna do cranking and compare. Okay. This is my snap throttle in cylinder pressure reading. I forgot to grab a waveform on a restricted exhaust. I just did the idle one, so I really can compare the previous waveform to the good known exhaust manifolds. So but I'm pretty confident on my reading on my gauge that it's reading at least less than, at least maybe that's 4 or 2 psi, which is a good reading for a exhaust flow, for a exhaust back pressure. So I'm just gonna test drive it, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.